All right, to Michigan we go. Hi, Kristen, what you got for us?
Hi, Dr. Farley. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah.
So, I just stumbled upon your radio program on Family Talk. I can't even tell you how I came upon it, but I did, which led me to reading your book, The Grace Message.
Uh-huh.
And for the first time in my life, realizing that I don't need to question my salvation like I have been my whole life. So, thank you for that.
Wow.
My question is, I'm finding myself now really eager to read the Bible, and
Yeah.
especially the New Testament.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in Revelation right now, and man, am I having a hard time understanding what I'm reading.
Yeah.
With all of the scrolls and all of the trumpets and all of that. I'm just wondering, am I understanding it correctly that this is all just kind of a spiritual warfare, or is this something that we're actually going to be looking at, at some point down the line?
Yeah, I hear you. Well, it's a little bit of both. Okay, so first of all, let's just talk about the Book of Revelation in general. Very, very challenging. So let me just say, Kristen, that if you're just getting to know God's grace, and you read the grace message, and you're no longer doubting your salvation for the first time in your whole life, that's awesome. What an incredible testimony that is, and we're so glad that we got to be here for you to encourage you in your assurance in Christ. Now you're launching right into the number one most difficult book of the Bible, in the New Testament at least, to understand. So, with that said, I also want to say make sure you're diving into Romans, because that's powerful. Romans 5 to 8, oh my goodness. And make sure you're diving into Hebrews, because Hebrews 6 to 10, wow, that is powerful stuff. So if you want the Cliff's Notes on Romans, then make sure you pop over to Ephesians and Colossians, because they're like a mini Romans, if you will. They're a shorter version with the same big ideas. So, Revelation is challenging, but I want to make sure you also are getting firmed up in that foundation of the gospel itself. So, there's a lot happening in Revelation. I mean, Jesus is at the center of all of it, of course. Revelation's all about him from start to finish. It's about his reign, and he's already started reigning. Like, he's Lord right now. We don't have to wait for him to reign in the future. That reign has already started. I mean, he lives in our hearts, and he's already risen from the dead, and he's seated at God's right hand, and we're seated with him. So it's about his reign. It's about his authority. It's about his return, and that is literal. He is going to literally return and rescue us. And he's already won the victory, which I know you read a lot about in our book, The Grace Message. You read about that finished work, about his victory. So you're right. There's a lot of symbolism in the book of Revelation, for sure. It uses a lot of vivid imagery. You think of the beasts and the dragons and the trumpets and all of that. Lots and lots of symbolic truth there. So we could talk about that in a minute, but what's this about? Well, it's really about persecution and encouraging Christians in any kind of persecution. There was persecution 2,000 years ago. There will be persecution again. There's still persecution today in parts of the world. We're told that's going to get worse and worse. The tribulation, so to speak, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And Christ returns and rescues us. So then life gets better and better, right? Because we get a new earth and a new heaven and a new earth and a new resurrection body to match. And so there's one coming, one return of Christ. And there's total victory at that time. So there's no secret rapture, which you may have heard. I don't know if you heard about that growing up, but the idea that Jesus kind of comes back secretly and steals away all the Christians, and all the unbelievers are sitting there going, gee, I can't figure this out. Where did all the Christians go? And the buses are crashing, and the helicopters are falling, and the planes are falling out of the air because of all the Christian pilots who were taken. No, 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 no. Jesus said that two will be grinding at the millstone, two will be in a field, and one will be taken away. Well, the one taken away is taken to punishment in that passage. And so it's a big misunderstanding, this whole idea of watch out or you'll be left behind. Well, actually, in that case, you do want to be left behind because those people are like those in the days of Noah, Jesus says. Those in the days of Noah who are taken away to punishment. So you're the one that wants to be left behind. Be left behind with the church. Be left behind with the bride of Christ. And watch as Jesus then creates a new heaven, a new earth, gives you a new body, rescues you, and you spend eternity with him. And so that's the truth about that. I mean, bottom line is grace wins, grace triumphs. And Revelation is a book that assures us of that. So when you're reading it, you kind of got to keep those themes in mind, that Jesus is victorious. He's accomplished a finished work. We're already reigning with him in a sense, and yet that'll get better, obviously, better than right now, for sure. And Jesus is already Lord, and he's already King. And as I said, he's already reigning. So, as far as the seven seals, you mentioned that, that shows up in chapter 5 and chapter 6. And basically, that's about God's plan. I mean, his plan for redemption, for humanity. Nobody is found worthy. Who's going to open it? There's a bit of suspense, right? The music plays in the backdrop. And who's going to be able to? Well, it's the Lamb. The Lamb is revealed as the one who can. And so all the seals are broken. What do they reveal? Well, there's judgment, judgment from God. And all the events that were forecasted, they take place, they happen. And so, some people believe that some of that has already happened. Obviously, you got a viewpoint out there that the first century church experienced some tribulation. The first century church being in Israel and in Jerusalem, you saw what happened with the destruction of Jerusalem. Some people try to fold that in, and, there's some good arguments there, but the bottom line is Jesus has not returned, and he's going to return at a future date. And we're experiencing trouble now, and we can experience more trouble in the future, and then Christ returns. So the trumpets, again, are about judgment and warning, and there's a lot to it. So it is complicated, it is challenging, and you can have a lot of fun with it. I invite you to go to our commentary. We have a BibleCommentary.org. As you enjoy the book of Revelation, go to BibleCommentary.org or go to BibleQuestions.com. Both of those are resources we've made available, and they'll help you through the journey. You can just literally type in, say, hey, I'm reading chapter 7, and I need some help with whatever. So, Kristen, thanks for your call tonight. Most of all, thanks for that encouraging word. I'm so glad that you are no longer doubting your salvation. That's a big foundation that has now been built in your life. God has used the Grace Message book and ministry in that spectacular way just to kind of firm up that foundation. So now, guess what happens next? Suddenly you're confident in Christ, you're secure in Christ, then you start growing in Christ like never before. So keep on fueling up on God's truth, and thanks for trusting us with your question tonight. Reach out again there in Michigan anytime.